Today I have Donkey Kong on the bench. Goes only left. It won't go right. So I'll show you how that works, or what's going on here first. When I start a game, let me pull out, and then I can show you basically what's going on. Alright, so when I move the joystick right, nothing happens. When I move the joystick left, it goes, and then right does nothing. So we don't have right for some reason. And what I think is going on, usually something very simple, either a bad input, the joystick I know is good. I know the wiring to the board is good because I use it every day. So what I first noticed here was if I go to the, let's see, pin 10 here, pin 10, 9. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but pin 9 is doing nothing. I've got no low, no high. When I move the joystick in the right direction, it goes low. All these inputs, they're pulled high by resistors generally, and the resistor packs, they hold all of the inputs high, buttons and joystick inputs, and when you close the switch, it goes low. So this should be reading a high, since my logic probe is hooked to 5 volts over on this side of the board. You can't really see it. Over here, oops, let me come out a little. So on these I tap off this 470 UF capacitor over here, and I put the the ground here and the positive here, and this, when we get a pulse, you'll get the light comes on. If it's low, it'll be this green light will light up. If the signal is high or close to 5 volts, the red light will come on. So this is basic. Low is anything less than, I think, 2 volts. Anything higher than, I guess, 3.5 will go high. So when I look at this input here, I see nothing until I do this. So that tells me that either the pull-up resistor is bad, or there's no connection between the pull-up resistor and this this pin. This is the reverse pin on the back side, pin 9 here. P1 right. It's actually pin K. Oops, can you read that? Yeah. So it's pin K, which is also, it's the other side of the board. So it's the 9th pin over on the solder side of the board. So when I look at that, I see nada. All the rest of them, pin 10, it's high like it should be. When I go left, it goes to ground. Same with the other pin, pin 8. Let's see. Oops, excuse me. What is it? So it's J, K, L, and M, which is 8, 9, 10, and 11. So 8 is the first one. This should be. Whoops. Is that right? I'm sorry. That's the start button. So 9 right, 10 left. 11 is, let's see, up, and 12, which doesn't come through the board over here, it's working also. So I tested them through here. If I go over here, this black connector, This first pin is right. Also, I have this other set of pinouts for radar scope, basically. And these are all the little black connectors on the board and what signals on where. Each one of them have a mark. They actually say 1 and the highest pin next to the connectors, so you know what they are. And they have a name by them. And they'll be, you know, audio or power or controls. Let's see, where's this one? Main controls, which is this big long black connector here. And that's the one we're looking at. The first pin is right. It's high. When I move the joystick right, nothing happens. So if this pin over here is not being pulled up, that means we've got a break in the connection between pin 9 and pin 1. Pin 9 on the edge connector, well, it's actually not pin 9. Between pin K on the edge connector and pin 1 on the main controls connector, which is both right. So another interesting thing I looked at here, this is kind of different. I don't know if you can. I think I shut myself off. Anyway, another interesting thing is look how high this connector is compared to this one. And what it looks like is somebody had bent some pins or something on this. And what they did, and it's kind of hard to see here. Let's see if we can focus on it. There we go. Well, not really. What they did is they put a standard bare header in this, and then they took this shroud and they placed it right back over that header. So it's a little taller. And the pins are all sticking up level, which is where they should be. But normally this is down about another, I don't know, the diameter or the thickness of the of that header, the standard header. And so somebody's modified this, and so I'm going to go check that the solder from here to here is making, you know, that those pins are making contact by solder. If not, you know what, I should test. I'm going to do one other thing right now. I'm going to test this pin 1. I'm going to put a jumper on it. Let's go back out here and put you back in the camera. Alright. So what I'm going to do is test. I have this Arduino cable, which these come in really handy. This side has no pin. That side has a pin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this over that pin and then ground it. And we should be able to go left or right. Actually, we can do this. We can check. Let's see. Well, we can see. Yeah, let's start a game. And I'll ground that pin. And we'll see if it'll go right. There it is. Okay. So that's our problem. Now let's see if it'll go up and down. Perfect. Okay. Alright, so it looks like I just need to make that connection. And what I did is I took this, I put the pin here, and then I touched this to the edge connector, and then, you know, with the right pin there, and when you use the joystick it worked. So that pin's not being pulled up, so I'm going to go through and add a jumper or test why that's happening, and we'll fix it, and I'll be right back. Well, I'm back. I wanted you to see this. Here's this header that they replaced. Somebody had replaced in a previous repair. And let's see, you could hardly see it. I don't have enough light on that. But when you flip it over, take a look at this wonderful wonderful array of white goop on the back. So this is pin 1, and it should have been jumpered over to this, and somehow it's cut. I'm going to go through, I'm going to actually clean this white stuff off of pin 1, and I'll make that jump over to pin K. I'll run a wire from there to there, and we'll see where we're at. I'm not going to pull all this off. It might make things worse. If I pull all of this, clean all of this off, it may just make it inoperable. So I'm going to make that connection from pin 1 to pin K over there, and we'll see where we go. And then I'll test the other connections, make sure that they're all, you know, connected between the edge connector and here, and we should be good to go. And I'll test the inputs for it. But boy, that kind of surprised me on the back. Let's see. Well, maybe I'll just leave the camera on while I do this. It won't take very long. Let me come back out. Alright, so let me get my magnifier out. It looks like, oh, they made a, I don't know what they did here. It looks like, okay, I see what they've done. They jumpered between the resistor pack and pin 1 after they replaced this thing. They must have done this because there was a broken pin. So they took out all of the header, all the pins, kept the housing, and shoved it right back onto a new header that they installed. Let me see if I can get this off. This is actually it's not a great repair. You know, I would have done it a little different, but you know, they protected it pretty well. And that's what all this goop is. See if I can get some of this off. Let me try. That's not coming off at all. I keep throwing this, there we go. Let's see if we can melt this sucker off so I can get in there with some solder. Alright, there it is. I'm going to take this wire off too. Well, they had the right idea. I don't know if I like the I don't think I like all this paste on here, but because you can't repair it. I mean, it's so hard to repair next time. So I think you should always kind of think of down the road, you know, if somebody has to look at this after you, what are they going to do? And if you did this and it didn't work, what are you going to do, you know? They probably put this all together and says, oh yeah, okay, it works. And maybe they messed up the vias when they did this. So I took this all off. I had a wire from this pin. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'll try. From the resistor pack to pin 1. And when they replaced this header, they probably messed up the via. And the via goes to pin 8 over here, or pin K. It's actually pin 9. I keep saying pin K. It is pin K. So they broke that trace, and they never worried about it because they probably weren't using the edge connector. They were probably just using the black housing here. So nobody, they didn't realize that it wasn't making contact. But I'm going to fix it with some Kynar wire. Okay. This is going to be a little exciting. Okay. Let's turn on the solder sucker and okay, it's the VM9. I'm just going to pull the solder out of that. I'm going to put a wire in it, solder it in, and then jump it to pins 1 and then the resistor pack. But everything else seems to be working on the board. I didn't recall what was wrong with this board until we stuck it on the bench because it looked like everything was good, and I had been told before that there was an input problem. We'll check out the sound too. We'll fully test it once we get this done. My soldering iron is still heating up. And my desoldering station. Pin 9. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, you haven't been able to see anything I'm doing here. So basically, I ran a finger from the via by the finger to this this pin 1, and now I'm going to the resistor pack that it's supposed to hold up. That should hold. Wow, still no. What is going on there? There we go. All right. Let's give this a shot here. Let's take a look. All right. All right. So that's connected. And then we'll test and see if it works. It should. Alright, let's get that back up on the camera. And pop it in. Let's see where we're at. Well, we're still working, that's good. I guess I should pull it back so you can see me actually using a joystick. Left, right, yay! Up. Alright. Okay, so up, down. Oh, I didn't try down yet. Let's go back. Up, down, right, left. Alright, so it looks like we fixed the input issue. Boom! Alright. The case is solved. Nice. Alright, so that's all we had to do so far. I'll contact customer. We just had to look up pinouts, try to figure out if what was wrong with the input. It looks like there has been a modification on the what is it, P5 connector, which is a 17-pin, which is this 17-pin housing. And this, in a standard Donkey Kong machine, in fact, all of the uprights that I've ever seen use these black connectors. So I know that this customer, but I know he's using the edge connector. And so when we were using the edge connector, that pin was just simply broken. And now we know why. I think that's it for today. Hey, I hope you guys learned something about, the logic probe or what it does and how to test inputs a little. They're the most basic thing to test with the logic probe because you get to control the high, the low just by pushing a button and seeing if the little light goes high or low. And it's a very, very good thing to know how to do. After a while, you start using, I use the logic probe for everything. For 90% of the repairs, I never have to pull out the fluke or a scope or anything like that. It's just, or not even a bug trap. Normally it's just a logic probe and and a JAMA setup with the monitor. And yeah, that'll get you going. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you on the next repair.